Hi guys, welcome to Is It Worth a Sandwich? I'm Joe Kira, and today we're going to be doing something a little differently. Recently, Binging with Babish put out a video where he attempted to make the Car Panini from Family Guy, and it didn't go well. So he challenged his audience and fans to attempt to try to create a palatable version of this recipe. And when I heard that, honestly, I was excited as Abraham Lincoln when he got into jazz. Ooh. Yeah, I can dig that. So I'm going to take a crack at this recipe myself. Try and make something a bit more palatable than what happened in the show. So first things first, we're going to be using a pita instead of traditional bread for the panini. Just because this is going to keep everything kind of together, and this is going to be a messy sandwich. Part 2, I don't actually have a panini maker, but we have a George Foreman grill, which will do the job. Next, in lieu of all of the chocolate that is in that recipe, we're going to be doing a chili with a good bit of chocolate added to it to kind of give it a bit more rich, flavorfulness to it. Next, instead of the Vienna sausages, because I don't trust any meat that comes out of a can, well, except for tuna fish, and even then I'm a little suspicious of it. We're going to be using a hot dog, a boar's head hot dog that I'm going to cut up in appropriate things to fit inside our pita. Instead of the cranberry egg, I'm going to make like a frittata sort of thing to give this a bit more structure. And then we're going to, for the peanut butter cups, I'm just going to throw some peanut butter out a window. Lastly, we're just going to add chips to the pita after we've got all our ingredients in there to see if that adds a nice little bit of crunch. Because this is going to be kind of texturally similar, the chips might actually add a lot to it. So let's get started. First thing we want to do is make our chili, assemble our ingredients, and if you're doing chili, it takes a while if you're going to make it properly. We're going to cut up an onion, cut up some peppers and some garlic, and we're going to make sure we forget to film ourselves cutting up the garlic and pepper. Next, we're going to add in about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Let that get nice and melty before we add in our peppers, onion, and garlic. We're going to add in just a touch of salt and pepper just for seasoning at this point. And then once your onions are nice and translucent and your peppers are tender, you're going to add in your ground beef. We're going to add in a little bit of our seasoning now and then a lot more later once it's time to, season everything properly to taste. We're going to make sure our meat gets nice and brown before moving on, but we should probably cut our corn. Man, I'm really bad at cutting corn off the cob. After cleaning up the corn that I dropped on the ground, and we're going to add that into our pot. We're going to let the corn cook for like 2-3 minutes. It's corn off the cob, so it's not going to take that long. And oh man, I almost forgot my crushed red pepper. That would have been terrible. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour just to kind of thicken everything up a little bit later. And then we're going to stir that up and add in our chili beans. We're going to stir up our beans, let them heat up a little bit first before we add in our full can of crushed tomatoes. Now, it was my grandmother's thing to always use crushed tomatoes for this. I don't know if it would work better with something else, but I've never made a bad pot of chili, and neither is she. Next, we're going to be adding in our dark chocolate. This is going to add a lot of rich flavor to the chili. After a taste test, it really does need a little bit more seasoning to it, so we're just going to add in a bit more cayenne chili, and what the heck, we're going to throw in the rest of the chocolate. Alright, now you just want to turn your heat down to low, maybe medium-low if you're feeling crazy, and stir your chili occasionally just so you don't scorch your pot. Chili takes time to get good, and honestly, I let this one sit for about 2 hours. Alright, so in lieu of Vienna sausages, again we're using a hot dog. I'm going to cut that into quarters to make it fit more easily in the pita. Next we're going to make our egg thing, like a frittata. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then we're just going to beat the hell out of it. Something my girlfriend always recommends doing is adding a little milk to your eggs to make them a bit fluffier. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so we're just going to throw some butter in the pan for our hot dogs, get our eggs started, and cook our hot dogs. Alright, so we're going to try and flip our frittata after it looks cooked all the way through, and let's try this, and yay! I only ripped it once. That's usually good for me for flipping something like that. Alright, now we're going to butter our pita bread, get frustrated that our hands are covered in butter, start again, and then after we ruin a second piece, give up and just cut it in half like you're supposed to with pita bread. No time to dwell on past failings. It's time to butter up our bread and start filling it with our various accoutrements, our eggs, our little bit of hot dog, and finally our chili. Now, the most important step of all is to make sure you forget where your camera is and stand in front of it while you try and put the pita in the George Foreman. All right, and now about 2 to 3 minutes later, and it's time for the big reveal. Oh, well, that looks way better than I thought it was going to. Alright, so here's our take on the Car Panini. It actually looks significantly more appetizing than I thought it was going to. And so last thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this up a little bit, crush our chips in, and see if it was worth doing this in a pita pocket and having to try a bunch of times to keep this mess together. Okay, so as I continue to eat this thing, it is completely falling apart. I think I would have been better off just doing a regular sandwich with it, because then, you know, I would have had thicker bread, but I'm not going to do another one. The egg adds absolutely nothing to it. Not even, like, I mean, a little bit of structure, but yeah, and again, ugh. It's not bad. This is not bad. This is not by any stretch the worst thing I've ever eaten, not even the worst sandwich I've ever eaten. But not great. I mean, a hot dog's good, but I ate it with a really good hot dog, so that doesn't really count. I'm curious to see what other people are going to come up with to try to make a palatable sandwich. I can tell you that I would say this would be a measured success. We certainly didn't do great, but I mean, we could have done significantly worse. Thank you guys for joining us on this little weird expedition into a challenge video. If this is your first video with us, thank you for checking us out. I'm going to try and do a title card here to be like, ooh, try some of our other videos. If I know how to do it. This one's a thing about Mario, and this one's probably drinks from the internet. But thank you guys again for joining us. Consider subscribing if you liked it, and I'll see you again next time. Wait, why would I see you again next time? You'll see me again next time. I don't see any of you guys. Ooh, yes. 4 score and some funky beats.